All right, I don't have my Apple Watch to get me started on my video. I tried to move the camera so you can see Sally getting zoomies on the beach. This is her zoomie spot. Am I in frame? No, going back now. You can see my stick though. Okay, so this is not the point of the video, me dinking around with my camera. The point of this video is I apparently have some more thoughts to share on spirituality as an ex-Mormon. I say that word really lightly. I don't know if you can even tell that I did that because, to be honest with you, I wouldn't say that I am like fully cut off from them because I still have a lot of like love and respect. And I have a lot of family members who still go to church. And it's not like I'm outright opposed to the church. There's just some reasons why I don't go. Some of those may end up being a part of this video, but really that's going to be a topic for another day. Because what I want to talk about today is spirituality as a whole and what I've learned since leaving an organized religion. And I kind of stumbled upon this spiritual journey through some practices that I think are a part of spirituality. And first, I want to like do a quick zoom out on spirituality. And I'd like to set the baseline of it being a feeling, a way of existing, a way of experiencing when you're living, not necessarily like a specific practice or an action. It is like the way that you are residing within your body, the way that you feel, the way that you experience the world. Um, that feels like a truer definition of spirituality as someone who's not formally educated in religion. So maybe there's like a more appropriate definition. Um, the reason why I'm even clarifying that is because my last video, which you should watch because I think it would give a lot of context to this, is like spirituality being separate from a church. You can be spiritual without being an active member of a religious organization, which I feel like people would universally agree, but I have no idea. So I'm just setting clear expectations of like my stance in spirituality. And the reason why me stumbling upon spirituality is relevant is because I became spiritual accidentally through practices that apparently nurture like this sense of spirituality. And maybe I should specify more this feeling. If it's a felt experience, I should be at least clearly identifying what that felt experience is, so you know what I'm talking about. And if it resonates with you, then this is a conversation for us to have together, right? Or I guess it's a one way for you to listen while I talk at you. um it's like that feeling of being at peace and light, like unburdened, grounded. In my last video, I talked about a sense of knowing, and not knowing like, oh, the sky is blue, because there's almost like a clinical, detached feeling to that. It's like a knowing of something personal, like and maybe not even necessarily internal, but like close to you, personal. That's the best words I got for that. So hopefully that resonates. Warm, calm, at peace, knowing, grounded. So there's a lot of things that can nurture that, which is what I found before I even really was like very spiritual. Um, and obviously a big one that people talk about is like being out in nature. And I mean, I used to kind of joke that hikers treat it like it's like a sacred um, hobby, I guess, like a sacred activity, almost akin to some type of religious practice. And I mean, I wasn't making the joke all the time because, you know, I say it very respectfully, because hikers are generally pretty respectful people. They seem to be, as I've experienced. That doesn't mean it's everybody, but you know. Um, and now that I have spent much more time in a spiritual experience or like a spiritual state of being, um, yeah, I can see why they would treat it like a sacred activity because it's like, I mean, one of the easiest ways to be grounded. And I mean, this is kind of what I was like boiling things down to when I had the sudden inspiration for this video, and all of a sudden it felt like I needed to record because it just started flowing, right? So, one of the things that came up as I was getting ready to come outside was that spirituality and like spiritual hygiene seems to be a lot of like essentially like mindfulness. And I laugh because I spent about a decade in therapy and I used to cringe when people bring up mindfulness because I'm like, that's not going to help. That's also because I was severely traumatized. So, yeah, that is why. Now that I have worked through and resolved and healed a lot of that, um, man, which, dude, that's one of my hot topics that I like to get into. So I'm going to try not to get on that tangent there. Um, Healing defined as found ways to love and support myself. Okay, not it's tempting. I'm not going down this tangent though. And Sally's excited too. I really tried to position the camera so you can see you're getting the zoomies because it is super stinking cute. She loves this little beach. Anyway, neither here nor there. Let's see, groundedness. That was where I got on a tangent. Mindfulness. Yeah, so like practices, spiritual hygiene seems to be a lot of practices that are like that. What can really bring you into the present moment? And I don't know if that's because that in itself is like spiritual hygiene or if it's like the precursor, right? It like, washing your hands versus taking a shower, or maybe that's not the right words. Getting your towel and your clothes ready and turning on the water and heating it up before taking a shower, right? The penultimate step to spirituality, or if that's what spirituality is just being grounded. um but I mean, in either case, at a very minimum, it for sure primes you, right, to be grounded, because if spirituality is like a felt experience, then you need to be in your body, which is like not what we're taught to do. Well, okay, it depends. If you had parents who taught you how to do that, that's awesome. Um, Props. But for the vast majority, especially us here in America, we're not taught to be in our body. We're taught to be busy, distracted, like productivity minded, to-do list, focus on the next thing. We're very cerebral, and we really praise that. There's like a sense of pride in talking about, oh, I worked 60 hours, 80 hours this week, right? I worked 3 jobs. Whatever it is. And me stumbling upon this spirituality, I mean, I used to joke that like my church was the trees and my spirituality, my religion was the different shades of green. And that felt sacrilegious to say, but I stand more firmly by it now because I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is like one of the easiest ways to feel grounded, to feel the spirit, or to feel spiritual, however you want to define, or however you want to label, whatever label fits for you, resonates most accurately for you. um Hello, tree. um and so that's kind of what I was talking about in my last video. You should take a little gander at that. This is like kind of a continuation, but a little bit more removed from religion, because the last video was more so about religion and religious practices and such. um like, what am I trying to say here? What do I want you to know? Really, what I've learned about being in alignment, being aligned with my higher purpose, with my higher self, with, if there's a higher power or spirit guides or whoever it is that might be influencing things. Maybe it's just the universe, maybe it is the trees, right? Like being in that alignment, being grounded, like having like a solid spirituality really is founded in so much slowness and groundedness. And a lot of the practices were accidental, like being out in nature, music. This is actually one that I was thinking about as I was walking out here to start recording this video because I was listening to piano music and there's no words, so it's not influencing my thoughts. There is some influence on emotion. I mean, piano music really can, instrumental music in general can evoke a lot of emotion. But it's like a really great tool for people who struggle to slow down. Maybe that's like the purpose of this. I have no idea where this video is going, but that's actually how all of my videos go. So that's not new, okay? Even if it seems like they're planned, they're not. Maybe they don't seem planned at all. But like the easy spiritual practices that aren't so distracting, because I don't want to get too much into what I talked about in the last video, because what's the point of me just repeating myself? Um that that's that's my one of my biggest uh, obstacles, sources of resistance for religion, is that a lot of it really is distracting. What you should and shouldn't be doing, how you should and shouldn't be doing, when you should and shouldn't be doing, blah blah blah. Right? It's all very distracting. I mean, really, the whole point to me about having like good spiritual hygiene, that's really not the words I want to use, but it's the best way I can communicate right now. So I'm just going to accept the imperfections. I mean, having good spiritual hygiene is just doing things that prime you to feel spiritual or feel the spirit or whatever words work, right? That a lot of it, I mean, one of the most powerful spiritual experiences, like most potent spiritual feelings I've ever had, was me sitting in the chair in my room looking at my stuff. Being grateful, dude, that's a great one. And gratitude is another soapbox I would love to get on someday. I likely will because it's reoccurring in my life. Especially growing up Mormon. That is so funny because I just used to roll my eyes at attitude of gratitude and having a gratitude journal and all that. But that's also because I was actively in traumatic situations or post traumatic situations that I was not the right audience for those kinds of things. I needed professional help. I didn't think that this is what I was going to talk about today, but for some reason, this is suddenly becoming very relevant. This is going to be one of the most disorganized thought processes for a video ever. So if you stick along, major props, and write something fun in the comments, like give me your favorite emoji or something, and I can give you a little prize. I don't know what the prize will be, but I'll think of something good. Um, a lot of like spirituality happened accidentally, honestly, even before having these really good practices, started with the process of shedding all of the layers that prevent me from, one, being connected to myself, grounded in my body, and two, living authentically, which I don't know if this is like a hot take to be so strongly correlating spirituality and authenticity, but that was a big reason why I had a spiritual awakening a couple months ago, was because I started like peeling back the layers of conditioning that come from, your parents' belief system, your family's belief system, your religious community, school, the media, everywhere that you have your belief system, your internal dialogue influenced, molded. Shedding back those layers to live authentically means, I mean, I guess, like, why would it come from that, right? Like, if you're trying to be so connected to yourself, I mean, I guess to some extent it's because you're not pushing away the things the things that you feel, the things that you think. Because it's really easy to do that when you have really strong beliefs about stuff and you feel, this is the right or wrong way to do things, or this is the right or wrong place to be feeling spiritual, yada, yada, yada. Like, just living authentically and having no judgment for what comes and goes means like you're going to have ample opportunities to feel spiritual, to feel the spirit, right? Because you have no opinions about what's coming and going for you within your experience. And also, when you're shedding back those layers, it's easier to live a life that is naturally nurturing, an environment that is naturally cultivating spirituality for you. Like spiritual hygiene as a daily practice, but moving slowly. I mean, that's, we already touched on that, right? Like this thought of our worth being founded on productivity, being a busybody. You never sit still, you're always doing stuff, you're always thinking about the next thing, you're always what, yada yada. Like, it is really stinking hard to feel a whole lot in between all that, right? And also, chicken or egg. Like, I mean, now that I've shed a lot of those layers, maybe it's because of spiritual awakening, I have no idea. But at this point, I want to move slower. I don't want to be rushed. I like taking my time. I like looking at the mushrooms and the bark on the tree and touching everything and taking it all in and smelling the flowers and watching my dog run around and dig in the dirt and scoot her butt on the ground like she is right now. Hi, tree. um like, I crave a life that more naturally cultivates spirituality. So, I don't know. I'm getting a little hung up. Can I be honest with you? Well, you don't really have a choice because I'm recording, so we can go as long as we want, right? Um, I'm feeling a little hung up because I thought what I was coming down here to discuss was my thoughts on spirituality and the practices of it, and potentially a little bit like how I got here and whatever. And I guess I technically have been talking about that. But what really keeps coming up for me is this process that I went through last winter that I already vaguely, briefly touched on, of like shedding back all these layers. Yeah, why am I being resistant? The message is going to go wherever it's going to go, and it's going to reach the people it's going to reach. And the people it's not meant for, they're not even going to be watching at this point. So if you're still watching, it's meant for you. So it doesn't matter if my video is disorganized or not. The whole point is for me to be in a spiritually grounded place, knowing that what I'm recording is what you need to hear at this point in time. It's not my job to decide what you should and shouldn't be hearing, what you do and don't need to hear. That's not my responsibility. Actually, it's my responsibility to make sure I don't get in the way of that. I'm just supposed to show up and do and say the things that feel aligned, that feel like it's coming from my spirit being moved, right? So, I guess if you're still here, there might be a few things that resonate for you. That doesn't mean all of them have to resonate, but if any of them resonates for you, I think you need to hear this then. So let's go through. So we put a finger down, right? If you want to. Hopping on the young people trends. I'm not even that old. Um, if you've been through therapy and you still, I know I keep touching this tree. Oh no, it's in my hair. That's why. The tree's okay. Whatever. Um, okay, if you have been through any amount of therapy and you've experienced a lot of resistance, like even if it feels like you've made some progress, I mean, you get so far into it and you're like, dude, why do I still not feel that great? Like, this can't be the best of it, right? If you feel like you can outsmart your therapist, um, if you feel chronically empty or alone, uh, if you have a ton of awareness of what you're doing, but you really struggle to change what you're doing. Like you have like these habits or these choices that, you know, you don't want to be doing anymore for whatever reason, and you're struggling to do that, but you have so much self-awareness. You might be one of those people who says, I'm so self-aware. Yeah, that's part of the problem. Um, yeah, that's probably a good portion. That's probably a good percentage right there. If anybody around you treats you like you're the problem, like your mental health or your addiction is the problem, um, this may also be for you. So last winter, really, this started way before this. If I can find the video, I have talked about this experience. It's a pretty fascinating story, but I don't want to make this video super long, or at least longer than necessary. Um, if I can find the video, I'll link it. Uh, but last winter, once I, get to the point of all the cool stuff has happened, I now started this process last winter of like shedding back these layers. And I'm not going to throw around too many words about what this process is like, or um I mean maybe a little bit, but like I'm not trying to label anything. We don't need like preconceived judgments or opinions about like what this process is, not because I can't handle it, but because I want you to be able to hear what I'm saying and have as little of the obstacles in the way. So this process, like self-taught, largely self-facilitated. I had another person present who, it was more like comfort, like emotional support human, that really made it easier to do these things because I didn't feel alone. It didn't feel quite as scary to do these things to do these things. Being ambiguous also kind of sounds weird. Like it feels like I'm like talking about some weird woo woo. I don't know. Not that I have a judgment about woo woo, but like I'm making it sound. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Who knows? Um, so this process shed back all these layers, and like really, what it came down to is I realized my decade plus in therapy and inpatient and intensive outpatient, groups, etc. All of this mental health support. It's like this process was what exactly what was missing. It like filled in all of the gaps that weren't there, that like coming out the other side of doing this, I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, okay, so I can live at peace. I can just like walk around and feel at peace all the time. Or majority feelings still happen, right? But I can still have peace reside within me as the feelings move through me. That's possible. I can just feel like abundant joy and abundant love, and and easily feel grounded and not feel so like affected by stuff or feel like the rug gets pulled out from underneath me all the time, right? Like I didn't know I could feel that way. It was mind blowing. It was mind blowing. And here I am. I'm like, okay, I went through this entire process, and coming out the other side, I'm like, dude, I want to tell everybody because it was so impactful. Like it has exclusively brought goodness to my life. So I want to tell everybody. But like the people that I tell, Sally digging in her hole, she always digs in the same spot, which is kind of interesting to me. Like maybe she's digging for gold or something. I'll let you know if she strikes gold someday. I'll let you know. Um, when I tell people about this process and how it's changed my life, they're like, "Wow, that's awesome," and then immediately move on. And it's like even more mind blowing to me that people like hardly register it when it's the people who I think it can benefit the most. The people who are, you know, treatment resistant, um, like chronically depressed, chronically anxious, like etc. All the put the finger down stuff, right? So I'm not actually really sure like how to share this with people in a way that they're going to hear it. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. That's not really the point. I mean, Because it almost sounds like I need to convince people. I don't need to convince people. When I tell people, the people it's meant for, they're gonna be like, yes, that is what I need. That is what I was looking for, right? Even if they didn't know they were looking for it, they're gonna be like, yes, that's the thing. I need that. Let's do it. But really, what I need to do is I need to get out here on the internet and have it reach more than my social circle because, I will talk till I'm blue in the face because I love the whole topic of this. Um, but I mean, not everybody around me wants to keep hearing it, right? They don't mind. They love me. Like I'm allowed to show up however I want, right? But I know I can help people and more than just the people in my social circle who have like um accepted this or I guess like wanted my help through this process or wanted to know more about it. It's not even that you need to know my help, that you just want to know more about the process. Um, so I feel like I just need to get out somewhere on the internet here. I don't really know how to do that. I'm not really high tech. Not really. I absolutely despise the algorithm mostly because of a lot of reasons, but that's a different soapbox. But you buy one toilet seat and then all of a sudden you see that for the next 6 months. Whatever. Anyway, I don't actually know how to get this message out to the people who need to hear it. So I'm just going to keep talking about it until people hear it that want it, right? I should put some way. Just go ahead and comment on this video. I should put some way for you to be able to email me or whatever, but I got to figure that out. And I can be a bit forgetful. So I don't want that to be an obstacle to you asking questions or like reaching out for more information or asking for my help and support. Um, I don't ever want this to sound sales pitchy. So I'm going to make it super clear, at least at this point in time, I intend to do this purely donation based. I want this to be accessible to everybody. So there's no special price. There's it's not a sliding scale. Obviously, anything that people have donated to me thus far, tremendously appreciated. I am so grateful for the people who have donated thus far, and they had the means to do so. And it's okay if you don't. There's absolutely no shame in that. The whole point of this is like, this was such an important and impactful experience for me. My life is tenfold better because of this experience. I don't want to hoard that. That feels it feels like such a waste to not share that with people. So I want to share it with people. I want to share it with you. If you're still here, then it must be relevant for you. So just leave me a little comment, even if it's just to like have some questions, a conversation about whatever the process is that I'm talking about. And I can also just make a video if you don't want to have a formal conversation. You can just ask me to make a video. Um, I think that's all I need to share right now. I feel like a little bit unfinished, mostly because I had set out to talk about my thoughts on spirituality and like spiritual practices, spiritual hygiene, and that's just not the way that the video went. So I think that's why I'm feeling unfinished, but I do feel like, uh, I guess to an extent, I still feel completed though in what I shared. So for now, I'm gonna send you off with a lot of love, like as much love as I can send your way across the internet. I'm gonna send you like a big old hug. You don't have to receive it though. Only consensual hugs around here. But I'm gonna send it just in case you do want it, especially if you need it. And drop me a like, a subscribe, a comment. Just encourages me to keep making videos. Because if nobody sees it, then I'm kind of like, what am I doing this for? I mean, I do it for me though, so I'm still gonna do it to an extent. It's not gonna fully stop me, but it is very encouraging to have those likes, those comments, those subscriptions. Because it reminds me that people are listening and that I'm doing this for a reason, which is to help people. I want to help people. I want to help people in the way that I was able to help myself, that I wasn't able to find outside of me, outside of traditional Western solutions. So, yeah, I love you. I'm proud of you. And thank you for being here. And Sally's excited too. I hope you got to see even just a little bit, even a little tail wag in the video. I also didn't bring my Apple Watch, so I'm going to come stop the video. So I'm going to get really close to you. Don't freak out. Okay, I'll talk to y'all soon.